and after a short time I noticed that Tom have no reflection in the mirror. This means that I now inside the mirror, and here I heard the sound of footsteps approaching me. No, this is not Jobber, this is closer to a monster. Creature with a thin body, long limbs, facial features almost erased. Found my copy hanging Tom inside the bathroom, and he had a suspicious smile on his face. I had no idea where I was going, or who I was talking to tell him what happened to me in that cursed room. I let my feet drag me to the farthest place from the room, and I kept cursing the idea that preoccupied me to leave my village, and my birthplace and begin my journey of self-reliance. When I met that damn broker, who snatched me away from the crowd of people, with all his cleverness and cunning. He took advantage that I was looking for suitable housing, with the least resources and the least cost. So he offered me more than one apartment to live in different places, but for an exorbitant amount. He was aware that I did not have enough money. Then he offered me the outcast room, and he is fully aware of the secret of that room. But I am also to blame, as people kept hinting to me about what was in that room, and advised me not to approach it. But my insight was blinded by its price, which suits my financial condition. And I was exhausted too from searching, and I had fallen asleep, and my joints could barely support me. I doubt that I had fallen asleep more than once in the way. Welcome to my first day in the room, where I was arranging my few things. The room was very simple, consisting of only a bedroom and a bathroom. In the bathroom there was a mirror along the wall. It was a ware mirror. When I looked at it for the first time, I felt that its reflection was different from the original picture in the room. The bathroom was in the reflection of the mirror, was older than the real one, and was somewhat damaged, stained with blood as well. But when I looked closely at it, everything seemed normal, except that the room itself was suggestive of depression and a complicated atmosphere. But in any case, I did not care about the matter, and attributed the matter to fatigue and my need to sleep. But what concerned me was the window above the bed, where its place is strange, and the strangest thing about it, that the jailer was strict in warning me not to approach it, and not to try to open it. And when I inquired about the reason, his tongue stuttered, saying that the neighbors should be upset. Knowing that the room is in a place completely closed to itself, and does not supervise any of the neighbors at all, so I kept it in myself, and I didn't procrastinate about the matter. And I also ignored the cracks in the walls, the dark red stains on the carpet, and the oppressor under the bed. And I was patient with myself over it, as it was only a short period of time, and I would move to another place, after I got a stable job. My contemplation of the contents of the room was interrupted by Realtor's voice, saying, "It seems that you liked the painting, sir. Anyway, here is the key of the room, and if you need anything, just call me. My name is Jabber." He left me alone, struggling with my mind. But I remember well, I was sitting on the bed, looking at the strange window, criticizing the designer of the place as it is my job as an engineer. Yes, I was on the bed, I'm sure. And one moment, how the doorman left the key to the room, while it was in front of my eyes he used young men from the cafe to break the locked door, and get rid of the old lock, and he told me that the carpenter would come tomorrow to repair the door. So how did this happen, while the door is now intact before my eyes? I remember well what happened. No, I was not imagining these. Anyway, I considered that this were imaginations, based on what was said about the room by the neighbors. In any case, I continued arranging the room and did not care about anything strange, as I attributed everything that happened to my subconscious mind. Then, in addition to the fatigue of travel, my eyelids refused to move and I slept in my place. Then I woke up in front of the painting again. But all those things don't matter now, as I will get my job in the engineering office today. I actually went there to receive the job, and met the smiling manager. He greeted me with all joy to tell me that I had been accepted to the job, and I actually received the job from the first day I arrived to my office, and now, after all this trouble, I have begun my journey to achieve my dream, my journey to achieve stability and self-reliance. I'm sorry, I was distracted by the conversation and I forgot to introduce myself. I am Da Vinci, a young man in my late 20s. I come from an average village from a well-off family, where my father is a smart merchant. He and my brother Amond work in trade, and I worked with them for a period of time. But from a young age I loved books and studying, and I used to get the highest grades. My dream since childhood was to become an engineer, and I actually achieved that. But contrary to what was expected, I was not happy in my life, as it was not money and excellence are everything. When I was a boy, my interests were different from others, and no one preferred me, so I became alone without many friends. It cost me a lot to get used to this situation. Anyway, days passed until I graduated from university, then I worked with my father for a while, then I decided to move to the city to start a trip, and I wish I had not. And yes, I forgot to tell you something important. My brother Amond was a member of a secret group, that called themselves, the Long Shadows. They are a group spread throughout all countries of the world, and their goals are unknown, and no one knows much about them. They would appear at certain times to warn people of an upcoming danger, and that humanity as we know it will end, if we do not take action, and they were asking governments to prepare large quantities of weapons to confront the coming danger. But as expected, no one cared about what they were saying, and people continued to mock them, and warn each other against joining them, and sometimes they hurt them. Well, let's go back to the events. I woke up to a loud sound in the street, then I quickly went down trying to find out what happened, and I found people whispering that they found the cafe burned, and the owner of the cafe they found him hanged in the middle of the cafe. But the strange thing is that they did not see any fire around the cafe or any smoke coming out, they only found him like this. But the strangest thing is that I heard Escaler, my neighbor in the building, blaming Jaber for what happened in the cafe, and that if he had not opened the room, this would not have happened. She kept looking at me with warning looks, but I don't understand anything, I had nothing to do with all of that, and what does the room have to do with what happened? It is clear that there is a secret behind that room, that will be revealed in time. Anyway, days passed and I became absorbed in my work, and I spent most of my time in the office, and began to ignore everything that happened inside the room, and I was patient with myself that it would be a short period of time and I would move to better housing, and indeed I had collected some money and started looking for a new housing. And about what was happening inside the room, nothing new except those frightening whispers that were coming from that suspicious window, and that black cat that was rushing very quickly from inside the bathroom when the door was opened, and that disturbing mirror and its old reflection. But the most difficult thing among all these events, was waking up every day in the middle of the night, and there is a long shadow in front of me, from which I cannot distinguish anything. My breath gradually becomes heavy until the air almost freezes inside my lungs, until I am close to suffocation, then I lose consciousness and wake up the next day as if nothing had happened. But anyway, I was able to get used to such things and convinced myself that all of these things were just an illusion, until something happened that I could not be patient with, and could not bear it. It started by a leaks in the bathroom, then I asked Jaber to bring someone to repair the bathroom, and Jaber told me that Tom would come tomorrow to do what was needed. Then in the middle of the night, I woke up in horror to the sound of knocking on the door, as I heard the clicking coming from the bathroom door, but I soon found out how it was coming from the door of the room, and when I opened the door I found that Tom had come to fix the bathroom, and when I asked him why he came at such a late hour, he replied confusedly, saying, "I am sorry sir, but I prefer to work at night because they come at night." He headed towards the bathroom, and as if he was memorizing every inch of the room, he entered without commenting on his weak excuse for why he came at night. He entered very strangely without any permission, and he was a little nervous, as if he knew what was going to happen. Anyway, I entered after him, then I described to him what I wanted to fix, and I was almost certain that he was not listening to what I said, but Tom began to do his work, and after a short time I noticed that Tom have no reflection in the mirror, as if he doesn't exist completely, and his movement is repeated in a strange way, as if he is a robot, and one moment, why Tom closed the bathroom door after we entered. And where is his equipment? So I headed towards the bathroom door very quietly so that Tom would not notice my movement, and began trying to open the door, but I found the door completely old, and it was tightly closed as if it had been closed a long time ago. The bathroom lights went out until it became a little dark, and Tom is no longer in the bathroom, and I noticed that the bathroom had become old and full of dark blood stains and somewhat dilapidated, and like you expect, just as I was seeing it exactly in the reflection of the mirror. But this means that I now inside the mirror, I actually found a faint light coming from the bathroom mirror, and when I approached it, I was shocked by the horrifying truth. I found Tom repairing the bathroom, but the problem is that I found me in the bathroom with him. How I am with him and I am here at the same time. This means that I am now actually inside the mirror, but this does not make sense. Before I started screaming so that my head would not explode from fear, I had the second shock. I found a voice coming from outside saying, "Everyone is keeping silent, it is clear that the spell is still working, he is now inside the bathroom." Then I heard a familiar voice saying, "Yes, it is clear that it is still working, I feel his presence, I will go and check by myself," but without a doubt, this is Jaber's voice, but the voice turned into a growl at the end of his words, and became closer to the voice of monsters. And here I was filled with terror, when I realized that he was coming towards me now, but where is the escape from that cursed room, and how can I escape from this situation? I found no options except waiting, and here I heard the sound of footsteps approaching me, but they are closer to the sound of horses' hooves. The sound approaches with all calmness and stability, the sound approaches and becomes louder with every step, the sound approaches nigh approach to death. Here Jaber arrived at the bathroom door and began to open it very slowly in order to reveal to me his true identity. No, this is not Jaber, this is closer to a monster. I found in front of me, the ugliest thing I have ever seen in my entire life, a creature with a thin body, long limbs, facial features almost erased, a dark blue color, looking at me without any movement, looking at me with looks full of cunning, looking at me like a wolf looks at its prey. Here I suspect that my heart stopped working for a period of time, then unfortunately it returned to work again, and I began a waiting journey that lasted for a long time, and I did not take my eyes off this terrifying scene, as I discovered the rule with this creature: whenever I took my eyes away from it, it approached me with simple steps, so I decided not to look away from him. And after the waiting trip, a desperate idea came to me, which was that just as I entered the mirror, I would come out of it, and don't ask me how this is possible, because there is nothing reasonable in this building. Indeed, I started heading towards the mirror, and my eyes did not leave the object according to the rule, and when I reached the mirror, I found my copy hanging Tom inside the bathroom, and he had a suspicious smile on his face, and after he finished hanging him without any mercy, he looked to me with a horrific look, and the loud sound of my heart drowned out the sound of Tom screaming. Then he motioned for me to look in front of me, and here I remembered the rule. The features of this vile creature were glued to my face, after its erased features turned into thick features with ugly smile on its face, and he remained like that for a short time. Then he leaned down and put his mouth towards my ear, then he said, "Pass my greetings to Adam," and then he started screaming hysterically, until I fainted immediately.